Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Juicy. We are doing our LSU versus Auburn preview this week as we break down a top 25 matchup here this week, and we're going to pick all the top 25 games for this week here. We're also, figuring out how LSU look in conference play so far, and we recap their big win against Missouri. Without further ado, let me introduce everybody to Juicy. How you doing today, Juicy?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing very well today. So, Juicy, what was your um interpretation of what happened against Missouri this past weekend for LSU?
Well, in a way, it was kind of a repeat of. I mean, the Ole Miss game, except they didn't allow quite as many points and as many yards, but it was kind of somewhat of a track meet, especially since Missouri started off fast. But I think LSU's defense did kind of find a groove a little bit, getting turnovers. They did kind of slow the game down some. They ended up outscoring Missouri 42-17 the rest of the way after the 22-7 start Missouri had. So I thought they did. I thought the defense did a little bit better. I find the biggest improvement was the defensive line. I thought they got much better penetration uh, against Missouri than they did against Ole Miss. I thought they were a lot more physical in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the way that game went, it was looking like it was gonna be all Missouri on earlier in the game there. Like you talked about the 22-7 jump they had here. LSU's offense is not doing anything wrong. I mean, they're scoring a lot of points for an offense. They're in the top 5 in the country in total offense. And whenever you get down to it here, their defense is like, I think ranked in the 100 something in total defense here. And that's not a good recipe to win football games. So, granted, they did have a big late game interception to kind of seal it, but Brian Kelly always taught them to go slide down that situation. But hey, the guy wanted to score a touchdown, and that's what he did, right? So, I mean, you look at the situation here, and it's going to be very tough, I think, this weekend because Auburn is one of those teams that gave Georgia everything they could handle, and they're looking to make a big upset against LSU this weekend in Baton Rouge. Do I think it's going to happen? Well, we'll have to see as we get on later in this episode. I'll give my pick on the game, but it's just something that we're going to have to look at and see. They got Auburn this week, and then they got Army next week, the 21st. So we'll have to see how that plays out. So, but I think the secondary still needs a lot of work. I think it's going to be a year-long process with this defense because if they haven't figured out by now, they probably won't figure out at all at some point. So we'll see what happens with that. And let's go look at the predictor and see what it has to say. What do you think the predictor is going to predict here for this game?
I think the predictor's probably gonna give LSU like a 14 point. I have to assume probably since they 9 point favorites, I have to assume probably about a 14 point win over Auburn.
Okay, so here's what the predictor says here. It's got LSU winning by 10 points, 31-21 in Baton Rouge. It has them also beating Army. Got them losing to Alabama and Bryant-Denny. Got them beating Florida. Got them beating Georgia State, and got them beating Texas A&M. Now,
I
granted,
could
the
see.
Texas A&M game, a 5-point win, a 28-23 win, which 23 is kind of a interesting number in college football anyway. Same thing with the Florida game. It's like 31-23. Got them losing to Alabama by 13 points, 34-21. So it looks like it's got LSU finishing 9-3 on the year, being undefeated at home, and going
They
2-2
definitely
on the road.
They definitely could beat Alabama though with the offense they have. They have a puncher's chance for sure.
Yeah, I'm not. I think the 21 points is kind of a low thing for this offense. I think they will score a lot more than that. Alabama's defense has been suspect this year. But Auburn, oh, I hate to. We're gonna pick the game here, and I hate to like pick this game. I hate picking the last one against Missouri because I was like, I think I picked LSU to win, right?
Yeah, we picked LSU to win.
Yeah, but it was like I'm this defense scares me, dude. I don't really know how to really feel about it and think about it all week, man. I wasn't actually like pick this game here because I'm like I can't trust their defense to get a key stop at any point of the game. They got one last week, like way late in the fourth quarter.
Not necessarily
But
about the stop. They just have to get some more turnovers for sure.
yeah, they just have to like they LSU needs to adapt to bend but don't break kind of thing. Like they can give up points, like they can give up like field goals. Just don't let them in the end zone. If they can adapt that kind of defense, I think they'll be all right. They can let them drive down the field. Just don't let them get in the red zone like really tighten up. Just let them have field goals all day long. And if they just do that, this offense will be amazing here. I know some people were kind of like upset that they were comparing this offense to the 2019 offense, but statistically they're pretty close by each other related wise. So it is going to be a very interesting game to see what's going to happen here. But I will pick LSU to beat Auburn. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I'm going to say 42-35. LSU gets it done in Baton Rouge. Who you got, Juicy?
I'm gonna say LSU. I'm gonna say well since LSU's been scoring at least 40 points a game. I would say I'm gonna give LSU. Uh, I'm gonna go. Auburn's offense. I mean anybody's offense against LSU defense looks better, but I'm gonna keep the 35. I'm gonna just go 49-35 LSU over Auburn.
I just can't trust LSU defense. My confidence in my picks like a 2 out of 10 because I just don't trust their defense.
They're gonna get a pick or a couple of turnover takeaways and make it like 49-35 or
Man,
something.
all they have to do is take one turnover and they'll win the game because their offense scores every time they touch the field. As long as the defense isn't like because they almost have to, and it's not really like if it wasn't for LSU's defense, if they had a top 50 defense, LSU would probably be undefeated right now or have one loss for sure. That's the crazy part about it. They had a top 50 defense, they probably would have one loss, and it probably would have been in Florida State.
Yep.
And that's just the way it goes, like that's just the way the cookie crumbles, as they call it here, basically. So as we move along here, Juicy, here, let's talk about LSU soccer because they have some games coming up that we really need to get to here. So LSU, they're gonna be playing against Alabama in soccer here, against them ranked number 24, Alabama in soccer. So for the year, if we're looking at records and stuff here, LSU is 8-5 or 3-3 in conference so far this year. They're 6-2 at home and 2-3 on the road here. So as we look at it here so far here, LSU goals versus shot attempts is 28 to out of 207 here. They average about 2 goals a game. Their opponents average 1.29. Shot on goal percentage, they're making about 46% of their shots, while opponents are making 48%. So granted, LSU defense needs to play a little better in the soccer game. In soccer going on, they got 28 total goals. Their defense got 18. LSU has a pretty good offense so far with soccer as well here. If they could just do that, they would be okay here. Leading points for LSU soccer right now is Molly Baker and Ida Herzmann-Daughter is the leaders because they average about 0.71 points per
I
game.
never kept up with the soccer, honestly.
So,
I
I
didn't even
mean,
look
do you think
soccer.
I got them losing to Alabama. I don't think they'll be able to have enough here. I think Alabama's going to be able to take it to them. Who you got juicy in that one?
Well, based on what you just read, I'm definitely lean towards Alabama for sure because I don't know that much about soccer, but I know it didn't sound too good what you just read. So
Yeah, like we're trying to like cover more of the different teams, like volleyball and all these other ones here, because you want to build them more cohesive so people can kind of understand what's going on besides football here. So let's go down to the volleyball for a little bit here. LSU has a losing record in volleyball. They're 7-8 so far. They're 2-3 in conference play. They lost their last two games, matches wise, in volleyball here because we've been doing this with the Cajuns. I wanted to incorporate this with LSU as well. So LSU versus Texas A&M this week here in the preview here. They're gonna be it's happening tomorrow here at Pete Maravich Center on the 13th here. So um the Tigers seek their spawn after dropping six consecutive sets last week against top two teams in the SEC and a pair of top 15 teams in the country against number 10 Tennessee and number 12 Arkansas. LSU has a 24.2% hitting percentage this season, and they're behind 12.665 kills per set on 11.89 assists per set. LSU also averaged 1.4 aces and 1.75 in blocks and 13.16 digs per set. So this will be an interesting one. I think LSU is going to right the ship, though. I think they will beat Texas A&M and provide a spark for the rest of the season and maybe come out on top. Who you got, Juicy?
I'm gonna go with LSU as well. I think they'll get it together, and the best time to do it is now. So let's get it, Tigers.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our top 25 preview here for college football, and we'll see what happens with this. I have no idea where it's gonna go, but I know this is Juicy's favorite part of the show, and it's also the most stressful part of the show. So hang on tight. We're about to go down this hill here together. Indiana versus number 2 Michigan. Juicy, who you got in this game?
Give me the Wolverines.
All right, I got Michigan winning as well. I think they'll be able to take care of Indiana. Indiana hasn't won a Big Ten game yet this year, so give me Michigan. Number 3, Ohio State versus Purdue. I got the Buckeyes beating Purdue. Juicy, who you got in that game?
Give me the Buckeyes as well.
All right, Syracuse versus number 4, Florida State here. Florida State's been looking pretty good this year. Syracuse has a 4-2 record, but they're 0-2 so far in ACC. I gotta go with the Seminoles. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Seminoles. Syracuse, the last has lost to dropped their last two since they started conference play. So I'm gonna go with the Seminoles.
We have two teams here going in completely different directions here. Arkansas versus number 11 Alabama. Arkansas is 2-4 and they're 0-3 in the SEC so far. While Alabama is 5-1, they're 3-0 in the SEC so far. I got Alabama winning this game. Arkansas doesn't look to be all that great this year. They're playing a Bryant Denny, so give me the Crimson Tide. Who you got, Juicy?
I got the Crimson Tide as well.
Number 1, Georgia versus Vanderbilt. Give me the defending national champions. Give me Georgia. I think they'll take care of business against Vanderbilt.
This shouldn't be close. Give me Georgia, but Vandy sometimes, has pulled off some crazy things against Georgia before. But this one shouldn't be
And
close. Give me
it
Georgia.
shouldn't be. They are playing Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is at home this weekend, so this ought to be interesting to see what happens in that game. California versus number 16 Utah. It's Cal versus Utah, so give me Utah to win this game. Who you got, Juicy?
I like the Utes as well.
UMass versus number 6 Penn State. Give me the Nittany Lions. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, this one's not even going to be close. Give me Penn State.
Number 8 Oregon versus number 7 Washington. You know what? This one's tough here. Both these teams are trying to get to the top of the Pac-12 here. This is going to be a very good game. I'm excited to see this one here this weekend. 3:30 game. Give me Bo Nix and the Ducks. Give me Oregon to knock off Washington. Who you got, Juicy?
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with Oregon as well. I think it'll be a high scoring game because there's no defenses, but the Ducks gonna do a lot of push ups again. But I think Oregon will pull this one out as well.
Number 23, Kansas versus Oklahoma State. I got Kansas winning this one. I've been impressed with the Jayhawks this year. Who you got, Juicy?
I like Kansas as well. Oklahoma State's kind of down this year, and Jalen Daniels is hurt, the quarterback, but Jason Bean does a real fine job as the backup. So I like the Jayhawks.
Texas A&M versus number 19, Tennessee. Give me the Volunteers. I think Tennessee's going to do well. I think Milton's going to be able to step up as a quarterback and deliver a signature conference win against Texas A&M. Who you got, Juicy?
Give me the Volunteers as well.
Number 14, Louisville versus Pittsburgh. Give me Louisville. They are the surprise team this year coming out of the ACC. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, I like Louisville as well. They're 6-0. They had that nice big win against Notre Dame last weekend. So I'm gonna take the Cardinals in this one. They have it's their first year head coach. I forgot the coach's last name, Jeff something, but it's his first year and he's got the Cardinals rolling. So I like Louisville.
Arizona versus number 19, Washington State. I got Washington State knocking this one out the park against Arizona. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, I like the Cougars.
We both picked LSU to beat Auburn, so we're going to skip that one already in this podcast. So, number 25, Miami to you, taking on number 12, North Carolina. Give me Mac Brown getting the win,
Give me Mac
adding
Brown as
another
well.
win to his career. Yeah, give me the Tar Heels. Who you got,
Miami,
Juicy?
Miami can't don't know how to kneel a ball, so give me North Carolina.
It's crazy how like this kneel the ball and win the game. I don't know what the running thing has been beat to death. So some it's crazy to me. I don't. Number 10 USC versus number 21 Notre Dame. Give me a USC. I think they'll knock off Notre Dame. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, I like USC as well, even though Notre Dame's the favorite. I think Notre Dame's a little bit over hyped.
Yeah, I think so too. Missouri versus number 24 Kentucky. Give me the Wildcats, man. I think they'll take care of business against the Tigers in Missouri. Who you got, Juicy?
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think Kentucky gets it though.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Kentucky only because they're the home team. I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm gonna just go with the home team when I'm in doubt.
Number 18 UCLA versus number 15 Oregon State. Look, I said this at the beginning of the year. I think Oregon State and Washington State have something to prove this year because of what's going on with conference realignment, dude. They're trying to make a statement here. Give me the Beavers. I think they'll beat the Bruins. Give me Oregon State. Who you got, Juicy?
I'm a uh, I'm actually gonna pick the Bruins on this one. That's a close. It's gonna be close, and Vegas has it close. But I'm gonna go with the Bruins to pull off the slight upset here.
All right, North Carolina State versus number 17 Duke. Give me the Blue Devils. Duke has looked really good this year. What you think, Juicy?
I like Duke as well. They've scored uh in every game but one. They've scored at least 30 points or more. So I like the Blue Devils.
So prediction wise here, the predictor is going through all this game. Predictor picked Michigan. It picked Ohio State to win. Florida State's projected to win. Alabama's projected to win. Georgia's projected to win 44-7. Utah's projected to win 37-20 over Cal. Penn State's projected to win over UMass 43-3. Washington is projected to beat Oregon, going a little bit against us here, 30-27, but it's going by the spread here. So win probability for Oregon and Washington. Oregon's at 39%. Washington's at 61% right now. That one could flip here. But the one I know LSU fans are looking at here, LSU right now is sitting at an 80% chance of beating Auburn, and the confidence is a medium. And Notre Dame is projected to beat USC 31-20, but the confidence is really low right now. So we'll see what happens in that game as well. So looking at it, it's going to be a very fun week of college football. So we'll have to see what happens here as we go through the weekend here. So thank y'all for tuning into the Fishbowl Radio. We'll be a great, wonderful week here. We'll see y'all here next time here as we recap the Auburn game and look ahead to LSU's next opponent upcoming this week here. So, I mean, you look at it here, LSU should do fine as we, look ahead to Army. So we'll see. Thank you for tuning in to the Fishbowl Radio. Have a great, wonderful night. We'll see y'all next time. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.
Good night, Fishbowl.